Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mission Listen podcast. My name is Cam.
And my name is Mac.
And we're here presenting our guest, Avery.
Avery!
She goes to VCU. She's studying... actually, wait, can we redo it? Because I'm not... Exactly. What do you...
Okay.
You can say what you're studying. Go ahead.
I'm studying political science with a concentration in civil rights. That's my first major. And then my second major is African American studies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Comparative politics, God.
Yeah.
All right. But before we get started, we always have this tradition, gags and goofs. And I know our last guest picked out a goof, but
It's
we're
a
gonna
little OD again.
Yeah, it's OD again.
We stay picking OD.
So we had to whip up something real quick.
What?
I got
Absolutely not.
Got some peppers.
I'll be doing this with you.
Yeah. So
Absolutely
I'll be doing this with you, Avery. We're gonna have a good time.
yeah, we're gonna try to get this in one shot. So
No.
Are you good with
We're gonna
spicy
go
food?
No.
I know you got some West African in you, so
honestly, they're not that bad. I've tried them.
Can I see what they're called?
Yeah.
Oops. Dried something chilies?
Yeah, it's not.
It's probably not that bad.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay, because
Or you guys can take one, split it down the middle. You know what I mean?
True.
I'll just take the bite.
Come on, that's a small one.
No.
if somebody could have milk ready, that would be awesome.
Or like
I
water.
don't even think they're like that
Water
hot,
is
to be honest.
not
Yeah,
the best.
They're
thing.
definitely not bad.
Are you guys fucking with me?
Always
Oh,
eat bread
just
or
don't
drink milk afterwards. Everybody knows that. Come on, Avery.
Not
Did
bad.
you just eat it?
Yeah.
You're ruining the structure, bro. Come
I'm
on.
gonna take a bite. Oh, I'm scared.
Oh God.
I'm not.
No.
You take your bite. Eat it.
Bread? Just
Ethan,
bread?
It hurts my tongue.
Ethan, try it then. Ethan, you gotta finish, bro.
You can't fact. I'm not.
It hurts my tongue.
There you go.
You guys are gonna shit spicy later.
No. You gotta finish it. You gotta eat it. Oh. You gotta eat it. You gotta finish it. Fuck.
I took a bite. Okay.
All right, I think I'm recovered. We're back.
We are back.
That was hot.
It's hot shit.
Whatever
Hot
these
fire.
are, my mouth's still burning.
Shout
I know
out,
Max.
shout out super hot fire.
But our first guest to not partake in the
I
gags and
did
goofs.
it. I did
She
it.
took like a lick or something, whatever.
Okay, I bit down and then I was like, hoo hoo hoo, and I opened my mouth back up. Like,
All right, let's get into the thick of it. So, your semester, actually the past year, how has it been for you? Like going from Chantilly to VCU and like obviously like getting into your major and getting into a different
VCU.
kind of environment, and everything like that.
So I guess like my experience with like going to school was like kind of hard. Like my first semester was really hard. Just because like being away from home was like a bigger deal than I thought it would be, and like not knowing like that many people like at school, and like going from like Chantilly where I went to school with the same people from like the time I was like 7 till I graduated to like moving to a school where I knew like 2 or 3 people was like kind of like hard, and like that was like a weird experience for me.
Yeah.
And so that was like my first semester, just like trying to like get acclimated. I guess that's like what I say now. It's like, which I guess everyone goes through like a little bit, but I don't know, it was just really hard for me. And then my second semester ended up being fine. Like I lived with 8 girls, so like in a dorm, yeah. So like I lived in an 8-person suite, so like that's like kind of like where my friend group came from, which was like cool. Like I hated like when I got my room assignment, I was like, I do not want to live with 8 girls. Like this is gonna be this is gonna be fucking terrible. Like I don't want to live with 7 girls and share a bathroom. I'd never shared a bathroom before. Like it was just like awful. But then when I got there, like me and like the girls like just like immediately got along, and like that's not like what a lot of people experience that I like talk to in the same dorm. Like my friend Jessica like doesn't even know the girls that she lived with. She lived with 8 people and didn't know them at all. And by like the second week of school, me and like the 7 girls that I live with, just like we're like best friends, and we still like talk a lot and stuff like that.
You still talk to Caleb?
Why are you gonna use her name?
Yeah.
Cut that out. We'll edit that out.
Okay.
If we can.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to your roommate?
Yeah. I live with 2 of them now. So like out of the 8 of us, 2 of them live together. 3 of us live together. and then the other 3 still live in the dorms. So
Gotcha. And so like going onto campus or like getting to that first day of school, like what was like, how was that adjustment? Like what was the first thing you did? Like was there anything like you like tried to get acclimated to at first? Like
oh my god, I like didn't even think about that. Like me and my roommate Kayla, my freshman year, we were so nervous about finding our class. Kayla's my roommate.
All right.
We were so nervous about like finding our classes. Like when you're like a freshman in high school, or like when you're in 7th grade, you're like, oh my god, like I'm scared, I'm not gonna know where any of my classes are, like blah blah. Mm-hmm. No. I live in a city, so like I have to like figure out like not even like navigate the entire city of Richmond, but like navigate the campus, which is in the middle of the city. So that was like really hard. So like the night before, we like went outside and like we like found all our like halls, like Hibbs Hall, like Harris Hall, and like it's so funny now thinking about it because like it's like right in a room, like in a row kind of, but like we were so nervous, like so like that's kind of what we did to like figure out like the first day of classes thing and like yeah.
Why do you think it was harder for you to like acclimate to meeting people and stuff? Like
I really think it was because like I never had to make friends before. Like I like went to Greenbrier West, which was like right in my community, and then I went to Rocky Run, which is across the street from Greenbrier West, and then I went to Chantilly, which is across the street from Rocky Run. Like my world was so small, and I never realized how small my world was. And like I went to school with the same people, I hung out with the same people, like sports, like if you like played like CYA basketball, it was with the same people. Like I never had to like figure out how to make friends by myself.
And like I think that's something like a lot of people lose, like, or that's something I had to acclimate to as well, like going to USC and like just realizing like, oh my gosh, like my friends aren't like cut out for me already. Like you have to make new friends, and like there's some different things I learned. Like what is something like you learned like that helped you make new friends, or something that you kind of realized like in this new social environment, social atmosphere you had to navigate? Like was there any way you learned how to navigate, or are you still kind of like learning that process as you're going on today?
I mean, I think I'll always be like learning that process of like just like better like communications and like people skills, I guess. Like it's not something you just like finish learning, but I guess like part of just like growing up, at least for me, was like kind of like stop caring like how I'm perceived like by other people, like like you kind of just have to like go through life and like do your thing, and like you'll attract the people that you attract and like deter the people that you deter. So
I think it's also kind of like a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like at least for my first semester, like when I was going to parties and stuff, literally like I was just faking it. I was faking everything, but I was getting connections and stuff. So you know. And once you have those connections, you can reach out to people and, you know, become better friends. So
that's something I wish I had done more, like make connections with people. Like I go out, like I partied a lot my first semester, but like it was like, oh my god, like add me on Snap, and then like that's it. Like it was never like
so many people. You go through your Snap right now, and it's literally just
I don't know half the people on my Snap.
Yes,
like,
exactly. It's pretty dumb. And you can walk around campus and like know people, but like not know people.
That's always so awkward when you're like, oh my god, like we like see each other's stories, but we don't know each other, and like you're like.
And like, how do you decide like who's the people like worth knowing? Like, because I don't know. Some for me, it's like college. It's like I know a lot. Like for me, first semester, like I knew a lot of people. But, like I didn't really like make too many close friends. Because I had a friend who like was with me, Hunter actually. So like me and Hunter like hung out a lot. Because like we were already good friends, and like it was tough to decide like who was the people who like you're gonna be your best friends. But like, how do you guys kind of decide like
to be honest,
who to build those better connections with?
For me right now, like it's kind of just what can they offer me, which is also kind of like
that's terrible.
Like it was weird because I would live with all these art kids. My first semester, I was in an artist colony, right? And there are all these like crazy talented people. So I was just meeting all these like amazing people, but outside of there, I just thought everybody was boring. Because like I was in this world of just color and art all the time. So when I stepped outside and I saw like a bio major, I saw like somebody else, I'm like, who the fuck are you, bro? I just met like a fucking sculpting major. Like,
but I think that's the cool thing about VCU. It's like there's so many different, like we have an amazing med school, like so we have like the sciencey people. We have like a great art school, so we have like the art kids, and then like the liberal arts is like good too. Like so like we kind of like get like a little bit of everything. Where I think like other schools, like especially with like the art program, like the fashion, and like it's just like incredible to see like the different kinds of people. And that's something I didn't get at Chantilly. Everyone even if like people were different, like everyone kind of like was like a little bit the same. And like that was comforting. So going to VCU and like seeing like all these different kind of people and like having to like communicate with these people, I'm like, whoa, like it's a little different, like because I'd never experienced that before.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting for you guys because like you guys come from Chantilly, which are places like kind of more homogeneous. What's the word? Homogeneous. To like VCU, which is like everyone's so diverse and so different, has so many different ideas. But for me personally, like I went from Chantilly, and that place to me seems so much more diverse. And like the ideas are so different. But, like,
Compared to USC?
Yeah, USC. I don't know. Like
I heard it's just black and white. Like
it's kind of
Like it's like
But-
One thing to note, when schools say they're diverse, that doesn't mean that like everybody just does everything together.
facts.
It's like it's diverse in the senses where they might have like, we got a Middle Eastern group, a black group, a white group,
Yeah.
an Asian group, da 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 da.
Yeah.
I got a funny story about that, to be honest.
Okay.
So like it was like first week of school last year.
Still hot.
Yeah, and me and my roommates are like walking around trying to figure out something to do, and like there's like these two cookouts, right? Like one of them was in front of my friend's dorm, and like there's a bunch of like white people there, like all cooking, like having fun, and like we're like, like this kind of fun, like let's walk around more. Like we saw this other cookout.
black cookout.
Yeah, we first of all in the distance we hear like Migos playing, like we hear Bad and Bougie playing in the distance. We're like, what's going on over there? There's strictly just all black people cook, like. And it's crazy to see, like, there's a group of black people, and there's also a group of white people. But, like, as you said, like, schools can claim they're diverse. And sorry, I can't talk. Like, the pepper's still getting to me. It's, like, in my throat. But schools can say they're diverse, but then not practice, like, the sharing and intermingling of ideas.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of like splitting in like school culture with like Black Student Union and like certain things that just attract like a certain.
But you have to understand where that comes from. Why there is a Black Student Union is because before Black students didn't have a place to go. Like it just like wasn't allowed. So that's why they created the Black Student Union, because they wouldn't have been accepted by any other club.
But it's also, I mean, it solved the problem, but then it created another problem.
It does, because like it creates a division. Don't you think? Like
It creates division.
I see the argument of like they wouldn't get accepted anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like in this day and age, like aren't there opportunities for people to like intermingle, and they just decide not to because there is like that Black Student Union where it's kind of more comfortable.
Well, yeah, I think that's up to the individual, and like that's where like it comes down to, like if you care, like you will, or if you have the ability and you care enough, you will.
About
like being like diverse, or like having like a diverse like social.
Yeah. A lot of people don't
experience.
care. A lot of people really just want to stick with what they know.
Yeah,
and I think
that's kind of surprising.
Because it's safe. It's comforting to know that like you're safe in that.
It's like, it's definitely weird for me being like from this area, which is so diverse, and also like not really. I've never really been able to like claim a race for per se for some reason. Like I've always said, I've always struggled to. I've always tried to like claim blacks, but like I'm not like, I don't know. Just the way I grew up wasn't really like that, so it was like it's a little strange for me.
And that's interesting because like I feel like you are perceived differently. Like someone just meeting you, it perceives you differently than how you like actually perceive yourself.
I think about that about you too.
Yeah.
Like when we went to that first BSU meeting, you were like, "Oh my God, like everyone knows like I'm the mixed kid in here," and I'm like, "Bro, like no one thinks that." Like you look at you, like someone looks at you, they're not like, "Why is that guy here?" Like it's like.
I always thought you were like straight up black for like a long ass time.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't get that. It's like that's just not the way I see myself.
Yeah.
And I've always tried to, because people used to always be like, "Nick, you're not black," and that would just push me. It would push me more to be like blacks. It's kind of weird how that happens.
And just for context,
I'm half Jamaican. I'm half white. And my dad is white and very country, and my mom is from like inland Jamaica, so it's like kind of a funny mix there. Yeah.
It's interesting growing up. Like, how was like your experiences for both of you guys, kind of growing up with race, and like, did your parents ever speak about like your blackness or like your whiteness or like?
That was something that like my parents like wanted us to understand and like wanted us to know. So like it was really like present in my life. Like I was aware of like race from like probably like a younger age than like most kids are.
How young?
Probably like 5.
Dang.
Yeah, like I remember going, like my mom like sent me to this like church thing. It was like a girls empowerment group, and I was probably like 5 or 6. And like at the end, they gave us these mirrors, and like it was like, I'm beautiful, like just the way God made me. Like it was painted around, but then in the mirror like had hair around the outside and like the circle you look into, but the hair was blonde on the outside of the mirror. And I remember looking into it and being like, like, this doesn't work. Like, this doesn't, like, and I went with my best friend who was blue eyes, blonde hair, freckles, like, the whole night. And, like, she looked into it and, like, got to be like, yeah, like, I'm beautiful, like, this looks like me, and, like, it's, like, fun because, like, the hair painted around the edge, it looks like me. And then me looking into it, I was like, well, this doesn't work, and, like, it's not curly, and, like, blah, 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 like, and it was just, like, a weird, and, like, stuff like that happened, like, my whole life.
Is this what you did your debate thing on? You remember when you did the Barbie doll and like the image thing?
Yeah, and like I think
Talk
and, like,
about that a little bit. Do you remember anything from that?
I remember like I was like a very like normal little girl. Like I'd like go to the store and I was like, oh my god, I want to get a Barbie, like blah blah blah. And I remember like walking down the aisles and like my mom thought it was really important for us to have like white dolls, obviously, but she also thought it was really important for us to have black dolls because she wanted us to like, and like dolls are kind of like your first idea of like what's beautiful and like what you like want to look like and like the ideal. You know? So, like, walking down the aisle, I'd see, like, a bunch of dolls, and, like, most of them were white. And then you get to the end, and my mom would be like, can you pick one of these? And, like, of course, like, me being, like, a little girl, I was like, I don't want one of these. Like, it's not pretty. Like, I want one of the pretty dolls, like, the first 10 that I saw. And, like, so, like, that was kind of, like, weird, like, growing up like that. Yeah. Or, like, I would go over to my friends' houses, and, like I said, my mom, like, I had white dolls, I had Asian dolls, I had black dolls. Like she just thought it was really important for, like, my doll collection to reflect the world.
It's crazy because they do studies. They literally do studies where they like hold up dolls in front of kids.
Which one's the good one? Which one's the bad one?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they like.
And no, they did it. The first experiment was in the 60s. Like so, like when like racism was at like pretty high. But then they did it again like a couple years ago, and the results were the same. So like your like self-identity of like black girls especially hasn't changed that much in 60 years.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like. I don't want to say it anymore because I feel like that lends itself to the problem, but like the demographic of being a black female in America is just like, it's demeaning. Like it's hard. Well, it's the perception of
raising a black daughter.
Well, we learned about it in one of my African American studies classes. Like, so like the subject is like, I hope I get this right. Okay, so the subject is like white males. Like that's just like the subject. That's like dominant culture in the United States, like whatever. So then the other would be like white females, black males, like blah blah blah. But then the other within the other is black females because like it's like even further from that like dominant culture, and like that's what we learned in like this one class, which is like weird to think about.
That's crazy, yeah. So like knowing all this information, like how would you like rate? Because like something I like kind of contemplate and like think about is like how would you raise your like daughter, like your son, like. How do you want them to like perceive the world around them, and how do you like make sure they know like how society perceives them as well?
I think it's important. I think like my parents did, like from as early as you can, it's important to know, like to like realize like this is myself and I'm different, and like that's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. Like it's just like is, and like what like I remember. So I have like a brother that like lives with me. A brother. He's my cousin, but he lives. Like I grew up with him. And I remember my mom like sitting him down and being like, look, like if you get pulled over, like your hands go on the dash, like yes sir, no ma'am, like blah 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 blah. Like and like that's something that I'm going to have to do with my kids. And like from like a young age, just like teaching them like the realities like that aren't fair, but like that's just the way it is.
Do you think that creates like a victim mentality though? A little bit of like how knowing that somebody perceives you in a negative fashion, like it's I think it's a little. The way I would raise my kid is almost like how this area kind of like shaped me. Like I would really, really stress, go out, get diverse friends, like make sure you have friends from all backgrounds, and it'll help yourself in life because you'll just be comfortable around everybody.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you with that, but like not every area is like that, and like that's something hard for me to experience.
Everybody's able to do it. Yeah.
When I like went down to South Carolina, it's just like. Not everyone gives you that clean slate like you get in Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, when I go there, like, I don't got a clean slate. Like, people perceive me a certain way, and I gotta, like, adhere to those perceptions so I don't get shot or I don't get, like...
And that's an important thing to learn, like, that not it might be like that here, but it's not gonna be like that everywhere, and that's not fair. Yeah. But, like, that's the way it is.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
But most people can find ethnicity, like, everywhere you go. For the most part, like my mom lived in when she was young, she lived in the Bronx, and like the Bronx was just hella black, but she had friends from all different like aspects, and like you can find ethnicity.
I think that goes back to like if you have the ability and the like desire, then you will.
I feel you need the desire to go out and be diverse, because like otherwise we're static Otherwise, America is static. We're not progressive.
But I think a lot of that's because a lot of people aren't given that ability factor, which is so, like, you can want it, but if you aren't given the opportunity, then you're not going to be able to do it.
So we're going to take a break here. All right, and we're back. To start, we kind of want to go into the Kareem Hunt situation. Did you happen to hear what happened with Kareem Hunt, the Kansas City football player?
I know it a little
no
bit, but
idea.
I kind of forgot the situation.
All right, so basically, him and his friends are out. They're trying to like go out with their friends like pregame or whatever, and these girls like try and tag along with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They found out these girls are underage, like in like 19 or 20, something around there.
Okay.
But they basically like, all right, like come on, get out of here, like you guys are underage, like leave us alone. And like
They started going crazy, right?
Yeah, and then the girls start going crazy, like they start like yelling them the N-word and everything like that, and like just making a bunch of noise outside Kareem Hunt's room, and Kareem Hunt's girlfriend was in the room with him. And honestly, might be botching some of this. So like, honestly, fact check me on this as well.
She comes out and she's like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah,
The girlfriend.
Yeah, the girlfriend. And they started kind of getting into it. And then Kareem Hunt is in.
He's got a little bit of an anger issue.
Yeah.
And he like comes out and he just goes crazy.
I mean, he doesn't go. No, so okay, this is how I interpret it. Kareem Hunt comes out. He says like he looks like he's like trying to be like, just come on, get out of here or whatever. The girl like aggressively approaches him.
The girl that got kicked out?
Yeah, the girl like he's
Granted,
upset.
everybody's drunk, everybody's upset.
Yeah, alcoholic.
So she aggressively approaches him and gets in like his face. Well, then Kareem Hunt pushes her like kind of aggressively. Too hard to be pushing a woman.
Okay.
But like,
and then he kicks her on the ground.
yeah, okay. It was like a semi kick. It was like a.
She kicked the girl.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm not condoning violence, but
that's
yeah,
that was the point for me. But what we wanted to ask you is like, should Kareem Hunt have gotten mad at the N-word? Like, and do you think in that situation, if somebody calls the N-word, what is the correct thing to do for a black person?
yeah.
So he's a black person, and the girls were white,
The girls were white.
and they're like what they said. Like you didn't say what they said.
They were like going off, and they were just like.
I mean, honestly, there's no audio.
Yeah,
so.
there's no. This is all word of mouth, so
Okay.
honestly, they could have like not have even said it, but from the story and what we know about the story, they called him and his friends the N-word, and they got upset off of that.
Yeah, I think he totally has a place to be like upset about that. Like, first of all, no one wants to be called a name ever. Like that automatically like sets like a guard up when someone calls you something that you don't agree with, and then using a racial slur on top of that is just like super jarring and like offensive. Like the only reason you would use that word in that situation is because you want to not set someone off, but to tell someone how mad you are and how much you don't like them.
So basically, do you think white people use it to get a rise out of black people?
In situations like that, probably. But white people use it in situations not like that all the time.
See, we talked about this, and
we had a long conversation.
We had a disagreement because I said the same thing that you just said. I said white people use it to get a rise out of black people. Cam says white people use it to put black people down.
Yes.
Like to but not in like, that sense. Like to basically just show them that like I'm above you in society. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's why they feel like they can use it.
Yeah, I thought of it the same way as like the revival of the Confederate flag, like the statues in the South. I thought of it like the N-word to me, and like the war on drugs too. Like that whole like regime, that whole like all those ideas and everything. Like I thought the N-word just to me represents the exact same thing. Like it's just white people trying to say like, hey, like we're above you, like we're trying to set you down.
It's like more than like a fuck you. It's like I'm better than you and fuck you.
You're
like
lower than dirt.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, if white people use it in order to get a rise, then would the only like logical response to it in order to get a good result is to not get a rise, right? No, I'm sorry. So like I feel like we should just let it go in one ear and out the other.
Well, that takes a lot of strength. If someone's going to stand there and call you that to your face as if they don't care, like it takes a lot of strength for a person to just be like no one's going to do that.
Like,
it's not just a word.
Yeah,
it's more than a word.
Saying it just I think that's an excuse I hear a lot from white people too. They say it's just a word. And like just say that to me just sounds so disrespectful. Like you don't know the history, you don't know the connotation, you don't know anything that like my ancestors and everything went through, and you're gonna say it's just a word.
But I do know the history. I do know all that, and I know that if we continue to respond to it, the word still has power. And
No.
I think the only thing that we can do right now is to take the power from the word.
And that's
not
why,
responding to
and
it.
we have. That's why we use it. That's why I'm allowed to say it and you aren't. Because I've taken the word that you used for generations and generations to put me down. I've taken it from you and I'm going to use it to rise myself up. That's why people say it. Black people. That's not why white people say it. That is.
I don't know. I think honestly, to me, the word's disgusting. And I hate using it myself. Like, I don't like hearing other people use it. I don't like it, to be honest. Like, hands down.
I really just think that we are not doing ourselves any favors by responding and acting violently, because all it does is just reinforce. Because when you call somebody a nigger, it's just, you're basically calling them a monkey. And when you act like a monkey, all it does is reinforce it to society.
I mean, yeah, violence shouldn't have been the answer,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like in any situation, violence shouldn't have been the answer. I'm not saying, but I think there should have been a response.
Yeah, I think there always should be a response. There should never, like, you should not be like docile when someone uses the word.
I would probably be like, it's the 21st century, bro. Like, either get with the times or get left behind. Like, that's probably, if anybody said the N-word to me, that's probably how I would respond.
How would you respond?
It would just be honestly like pure shock in that moment, and like just like, wow, like I can't, like I honestly would not be able to believe that someone said that to me.
It does depend on like who says it to you, you know.
If it were a friend, like that would be, just, or like if a friend said it around me, like I'd just be like, ooh, like that.
Do you let white people say it?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
How,
See,
like,
I do sometimes.
like,
that is disgusting.
See, that's the thing. Like, I just think it's a word.
No, but to me, if you're white and you say it, that's the same thing as your great 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 grandfather saying it to my ancestors. It's no different.
I think that it's so hard for white people nowadays. I empathize with white people because it's so in the culture. It's so in hip hop that like, and if you like hip hop, you're gonna have to
It's
like.
so
hear
easy
it
to
all
just
the
not
time.
say it.
Is hip hop forward? Like, is the artist like in their mind like thinking like, oh yeah, like all this stuff I'm saying, like I'm trying to really resonate with white people, like
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Hip hop artists make music for white people
Because
nowadays.
white people pay for it, but that's it. The music and the message is not
it's
for
from their
white
experience.
people.
Yeah, it's from their own personal experience of their perception on life.
Hip hop
Like,
artists make music for white people,
I don't
and they
think-
know it too.
I don't
Like,
think-
Juice WRLD makes music for white kids. Like so does 21 Savage probably makes music for white kids. Like all these artists know that the white kids are the ones who are using them.
I think 21 Savage would be disgusted hearing you say that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
Yeah, like I don't.
You gotta check it.
Yeah. I don't think 21 Savage. Yeah, like, cause I think about him, like where he's from, like all the stuff like he's gone through, like.
All right, maybe
The thing-
21 Savage
like-
was a bad, but Juice WRLD definitely. Come on, like these guys, like these emo artists that are coming out and they're resonating with white kids. Like those guys, like all these people.
But that doesn't give them they aren't like. No, they can't say it. I'm sorry, they can't. They
All I'm
can't.
saying is, I understand. I get where you're coming from. I just empathize with white people because it is.
What empathy do they need in that
it's
situation?
It's hard in where it's in the culture, and you're hearing it, and it's the cool thing to say,
What?
and because everybody's just like you literally hear it like 50 times a song.
But like that just shows so much lack of discipline if you can't say it just because it's in the culture.
A lot of people
Like-
have a lack of discipline.
No, it goes back, like, it's so easy just not to say it. I'm sure that there are plenty of people that love rap that can do an entire song without saying that word the entire time. I know
Yeah.
people that can.
Mhm.
I'm not saying they should.
Yeah. I feel like we're talking in circles at this point.
I'm just saying I understand.
So I'm gonna move this on. And actually, I want to share a story. So and I want to ask kind of a question based off this story. So like I was at Wegmans a few days ago, and I was walking like through the produce aisle, you know, checking for my fruits, trying to get some strawberries,
Oh yeah.
some pineapple.
Preach.
And this man comes up to me and says, "Hey," taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey." I turn around. I'm like, "Never seen this guy in my life." He's like, "Are you one of the interns?" I'm like, "What? No, like that's not me." And so like basically like we had this whole conversation and everything. He's like, blah 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 blah. And like he's like, "Hey, well, like you're pretty well spoken. Like, let me get your number down. If like I have any intern opportunities, I got you." And I was like, like dang, like it's really dope. Like I came out of that conversation like pretty happy. I was like, dang, like kind of brightened my day. Everything like 5 minutes later, I like stopped my cart right in the middle of the aisle. I'm like, that was racist.
Man said you were well spoken.
Yeah, and like first of all, like I think like he assumed like I don't know how much, but like because I'm black, like maybe I'm that intern. Like I don't know. But
Who's
then
not
he said,
listening to
yeah.
a thing
There's
you
probably
said?
one black intern who's like, oh, that's him.
Yeah, like who knows? But then he says afterwards, like, I'm well spoken. Like, what did he expect? Like, I don't know. How many things like
The man was not listening to it.
That's microaggression. That's what that is.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, is that actually racist or is it just like?
Yes, it's racist.
Yes.
I don't know, but like, how long
Absolutely
do you let the line like draw out? Because you could like say like so much different. Like, there's a slippery slope you have with that kind of stuff. Like, how many other opportunities?
I think that's just like the kind of racism that like, okay, like the white people that are like, I'm not racist. Like, you probably aren't. You probably don't think you're racist. But when you think stuff like that and you say stuff like that, it's racist. Like,
But is it race? Like,
yes.
What is racism? Like, I thought.
Because he assumed, looking at you and looking at your skin, that like this kid is gonna open up his mouth and I'm not gonna know what the hell he's saying. Like, that's like what he assumed, because that's what he sees in the media and on TV and like in rap. Like oh, this kid's just like one of those. And then as soon as you open your mouth and you speak like everybody else, he's like, wow, like, I'm so surprised, I'm so proud, like, this black man has overcome all these obstacles and can talk. That's what he thought.
Pretty funny.
Okay, yeah, when you put it like that, that's kind of messed up.
A question I ask for you is, are you guys with the mentality of, if you're not with us, you're against us, and racism kind of thing? Like, if you're not on the side of getting us to the equality and getting us to that equilibrium where everybody is there, are you racist?
I think you need people who are not on either side, because like they basically make, because like then you just have a fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you need a or like, I don't know. I'm not even articulating my idea properly, but
I think we need. I think the white people who are like the guy from Texas. Who's the
Beto?
Yeah, that guy. We need more of him. That guy, he needs to run for president.
He will. I'm pretty sure he is running for president.
Who's this guy?
Beto.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He ran against Ted Cruz and
Oh, they who beat Ted Cruz?
he didn't beat Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz beat him.
But
he's one of the white guys that just black people love, because like he is on our side, and he's just one of those people.
Okay, but I don't like saying our side. Like, it's not really a
he's
side.
the
It's just like,
he's the person that will go out of his way to empower everybody.
Yes.
Like, you know, and like if you're not on either side, like, I feel like that just adds to the problem.
I agree with that.
There's a disparity, so we need these people to like come down a little bit for us to come up. You know, you gotta meet us in the middle.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think we got, like, that's another perception I feel like that's very bad, and like why there's even a fight in the first place. Because like, if we think that like we have to put white people down in order for us to get up, like, I think it should just be us getting up to that level. Like,
no one's saying you have to bring white people down.
White people are moving up. White people
What?
are moving up.
I
while
did
we're
not hear
also
that.
moving
Yeah,
up. That's the thing.
Okay, no.
No.
I
Like,
took this class. I took this class as like the politics of race, class, gender, sexuality, and ability. So it was basically just like, I don't know, just like about that. And we learned that a type of oppression, it might not be active, but if you don't do anything to stop it, you're part of the oppression.
And we're back. The camera kind of overheated, so we're gonna change topics real quick. So we have this show. Me and Cam have this show called Random Acts of Flying. This is on HBO. It's really good. It's like really raw. It's almost like unapologetically black, which kind of goes with the theme of the show. But they kind of talk about this concept called white thought. And it's basically just like kind of what we were talking about, like an inability to self-aware.
And I'm honestly not fully. I don't fully understand it, to be honest.
It's just not an awareness of yourself, you know, not an awareness of your natural racism.
Yeah.
So saying I'm not racist, obviously, is like a product of white thought. And like, I wanted to ask you guys, do you think like, is it nature or is it nurture to like think this way?
Nature.
You think it's nature? You think it's just like an intrinsic thing that comes with having like pale skin?
I think it's tribalistic. So like, it's an intrinsic thing that comes with having dark skin, and intrinsic thing that comes with having light skin. Like, not white thought specifically, but like the same thing like would happen. The same thing happens in every single race. I think so.
I think no one wants to admit their faults, and being racist is a fault. So of course that's like a natural thing. Like, no, like, that's not me. Is it going to be a natural reaction?
You know what's crazy? I was actually reading something on Vice the other day, where it was talking about how racism actually rots your mind, And literally, at a certain point, there was a member of the NCAA or NAACP.
Yeah.
So, and they literally were talking about putting racism into the what is the psychological book, the DSM, is that it?
DSM-5?
Yeah, the DSM-5. They were talking about putting racism into it because it's the opposite of the norm. So do you think the norm is to not be racist, and then the non-norm is to be racist? Or do you think the norm is racism?
I think the norm is racism. Like, you have to be slightly racist. I think for humans in general, like just primitively speaking, you have to be slightly racist to survive.
I don't think that's true.
Like, okay, I think we've evolved to the point where like racism is obviously not necessary, but I think like primitively, like we use that for our.
Well, it's like an us versus them mentality, I guess, is natural.
It's like it's like just finding a different sense of belonging, you know? Like a belonging for like history, like all throughout history has been what we look like, because it's like kind of a primal thing. So,
it's so
once
simple.
we find like this different sense of belonging, because we've already gone past like post thriving like thinking, basically. It's like once you hit a certain economic standpoint,
survival,
and you start thinking in a different way. We've already hit that, so we can find different modes of belonging. So we don't have to be racist to survive anymore. Basically. You know, we can find these different groups to identify with.
And I think that's why like humans like have like the ability to be so special, is because like we've hit that level of like where we don't have to worry about like, I mean, in general, like we don't have to worry about like hunting and like doing all this different stuff and like shelter from like a storm or something like that.
Because we've already gone past that. You know? We can think
like on the general scope, humanity.
What are some like? Actually, I don't know. We don't have enough time for that. I was gonna say like, what post thriving groups do you like identify with? But that can be for another show.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Like
I guess I'm
outside of once, because so like the thought is that once humanity hits like a certain point economically, you start to like go past your instinctual thoughts, and you start like you have a higher level of thinking, and like you can identify with different
like,
things other than what you look like.
Like just the fact that we're doing this right now, like having a podcast talking about like our society and our culture is like an example of like post-thriving behavior.
But I feel there's like certain people that are further in that than other, like an entire society is like that. It's the individual.
World, like people are still around the world. People are still in like survival mode, of course. And in America, it's a little different. But
so yeah, do you think? I feel like the next problem is like, or the next thing we should tackle is like making sure everyone gets on that level.
Which is crazy because that's why I think America needs to be so inept in its foreign politics. And like obviously focusing on domestic stuff it's important because we need to care about our own people, but like we have a responsibility to get everybody up to our level so that the world can advance.
Yeah, but I think the hesitation of that is that it threatens our place as a world power, and that's very important to American politics.
Very important, yeah.
Is our place as a world power.
But that goes with the thing, like post-thriving, once those people get up out of their survival, modes, then they can start, identifying with groups across oceans, like they can identify outside of their own country. And I think the internet has also given that opportunity, You can identify with groups outside of your own country, and that'll just make everybody start loving each other,
That's interesting. But can you fully identify with someone like you've never actually like had a physical interaction or physical contact with?
It's possible now. Like Twitter, for instance. That's all Twitter
is.
But you relating to people without even meeting them.
But the internet allows you to put like your version of self out there yourself. Like on the internet, like I can, like
you can put
I can make myself seem any way. It might not be like my true self or how the people that are close to me see me, but the internet allows me to put this version of myself out there.
I think that's a step we have to take with social media. I think social media right now is completely poisoned because people don't put, like, they only put what they want.
Yeah.
On there. I think we need to take a step and like, if it does continue to be this way, we need to just put everything.
But how do you make social media authentic? Like there's
By
no
putting everything on there. Like
what?
when
Like
people are only seeing what you want them to see, and you're only seeing what people want to show you, you're obviously like mental health is getting
but
fucked
then
right now.
you talk about the addiction to social media. Doesn't that just cause more addiction
Yeah.
if you're posting every single thing?
I think it's less because you don't have any anxiety about it.
Maybe.
You don't
There's
have
a
any-
vulnerability there that people aren't going to be down for.
How important is
I
vulnerability?
think it's meshing your online self with your in-person self. I think right now a lot of people have like two selves. They have their online self and then they have their in real life self. So, like, I feel like once those two become one and you just put whatever you want on your social and do whatever you want in your real life, then it'll become better. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting thought. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming on the podcast, especially.
It was fun.
Like, yeah, it's.
I was nervous, but it was fun.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
All right, we'll see you guys. This is Cam.
And this is Mac.
Tune in next week.
Peace, y'all.